So I love your motto: good friends, good times, and good wine.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes, and that's kind of exactly how the business is built.
Welcome to High Trust Professionals Podcast, where we interview real estate agents, community leaders, business owners, and entrepreneurs from across the country. Hear what it takes to build trust, be a respected leader, be productive, and win your day. Sit back and relax as we dive into another episode of High Trust Professionals Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of High Trust Professionals Podcast. I'm your host, Lynette Arrasmith. With me today, I have my friend Deanna Albertson, who is the owner and day-to-day manager of Vino Mas. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, Lynette.
I'm so glad you're here. So Deanna and I it's been a few years, several years, and met through networking, of course.
Right.
Which is, where I meet so many people, which I love.
Right.
And so I invited Deanna to come on and share with us some things about Vino Mas that maybe you don't know, and I'll share some things that I love. And oh my gosh, 10 years.
Yes, 10 years.
I was poking around online, and I'm like, oh my goodness, 10 years this month,
10,
right?
10 years next month. So we're a month away.
Yeah.
Which is like shocking. Time has gone by so fast.
Well, remind me to circle back, because one of the things that I think is so important to touch on is when you're a business owner and you're an entrepreneur, and the ebbs and flow of the economy and going through COVID and all of those things. Wow, like how do you survive that?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. So here's what I love. So Vino Mas is a wine retail and wine bar.
Correct.
And I love that. So I could stop in and buy a bottle or two or three. Or I could sit and enjoy a glass.
Exactly.
And listen to some music.
Yes.
So I love your motto: good friends, good times, and good wine.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes, and that's kind of exactly how the business is built. When I sat down to decide what type of wine place am I looking at, it's really about connections, because wine connects people. Yeah. So if you are having a glass of wine and you're sipping, it cannot not just automatically just like help you to relax, help you to chat, help you to visit with other people. And that's where, the motto is that's where it comes from. Yep.
It's great. Well, and your environment is so inviting. And someone might say, well, duh, but no, it's inviting. It's, you wouldn't hesitate to chat with someone who's at the table next to you.
Right.
Because that's just the vibe. Yeah.
It's a vibe, and people pick up on it. The amount of friendships that not only have I made, our staff has made, but also the amount of friendships that customers just coming in and sitting have made.
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
People are doing things all the time. They go on vacation. I've had people at my house, and it's all from Vino Mas, because Vino Mas has connected people.
Yeah, it is, which is awesome.
It's a cheers. The way we look at it, it's kind of the cheers of West Omaha.
I like it.
Yes.
Okay, another tagline.
Yes.
The cheers, Vino Mas,
yes.
The cheers of West Omaha.
Yes.
Some of our viewers and listeners might not be old enough to remember cheers.
Oh, whoa.
we'll let them look it up.
Well, look it up. You're gonna love it. Once you see a couple episodes, you'll love it.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's be honest. There are other wine bars, other places across the metro.
Exactly.
I don't think everyone, not all of our listeners and viewers will be in Omaha, so they don't realize probably what our population looks like and how spread out we are. So let's talk about what makes Vino Mas unique. What makes you different?
Well, there's quite a few things that I feel makes this very unique and very different. One of the things, if you're not in the Omaha area, and actually even if you are, there are a lot of wine bars, a lot of wine stores, and people don't realize that. Just within our vicinity, we're right here by Lynette's office, just about a mile away. But in this mile, really the mile radius from where Vino Mas is, there is there's a high-end wine store that specializes in bourbons as well as Napa Valley and high-end wines. There's a store right here, right by you in this shopping center that is a liquor wine store. One's right down the street, literally probably about 2 blocks, another one. And that's just right here in my little vicinity.
Right.
And that's without all the big box stores. So what makes us unique, one, I think absolutely number one is our staff. We are consistent. We have 0 turnover. Deb and Brenda have been, 10 years.
Yeah.
And Deb, Brenda, and I have been a staple for 10 years.
Yeah.
And
that says a lot.
And that's a lot. The people that come in, they just don't leave unless they've moved out of state. We only have a handful of people that worked there at one point and no longer work there. And the last person that was hired has been there 2 years.
So I think some of the things that make you unique from my seat would be that sense of community that you've touched on.
Right.
You bring in music.
We bring in music every week. That's one thing. And there are a lot of places that have music. We are very blessed with our musicians. We only bring in local. We have a Wednesday night jam session, which is super fun. And those musicians, they just get together. So anybody that's out there in the Omaha area that play guitar, maybe keyboards, or just like, tambourine, whatever, and like to sing, stop by between 6 and 8 on Wednesday nights. You can just jump in and you can just jam. A lot of our musicians have come from that jam session. We've got live music on Thursday nights and on Saturday nights. And we aren't open late. I always say we're all old. We need to get to bed. We close on Thursday nights at 8:30, and then even on Saturday nights at 9:30. So you can come out, have a great night, listen to some music, have great wine, and still be home, hang out with your friends, and still be home at a decent hour to watch the news.
Because that's what old people do.
Yes. Or Saturday Night Live on a Saturday night or something else.
That's right. Well, I think it's amazing. The other thing that I know that I definitely want to talk about is your wine club. Because I will say, as a patron, you talk about the team, the staff. One of the things I love is that you'll give me direction. Because, if you're not an educated wine person, then you walk in and you go, wow, like there's a lot of stuff here.
Right.
And you take the time to say, okay, what do you typically like?
Right.
What do you typically drink? Maybe you should try this. Maybe you should try this. These are all completely different, and here's why. So I love that knowledge base. I don't think, Deanna, that everyone understands the length that you had to go to and chose to go to be knowledgeable in your craft.
Right. And so I say it's just like anything. And I'll just give my chiropractor as a prime example. She'll just say, Deanna, how do you know so much about wine? And I'll say, well, Dr. Chris, how do you know so much about the body? We all have our specialty. We all do what we do. Lynette, look what you do. You are amazing at your job. I mean, and just as a quick plug for Lynette, I've done 2 different refis with Lynette. Seamless, easy to work with, responsive, love her. But how do you know what you know? Because you've got that education. And again, just going back to what we have that differentiates us, our staff has knowledge. And by having consistency and having that knowledge, so whether I'm there or somebody else is there, you can walk in, they know the wine, they can talk you through, even if we've never seen you. And the difference by coming to us rather than going to a big box store is we have anywhere between really 13 to 16 wines that we pour. So we can say, here, what do you normally drink? Well, let me have you try this. Let me have you try this. And based on what you've tried and what your responses are, we're able to then put you in what you will like.
Yes.
And you
and
can't
it's not
get
a guessing game.
It's not a guessing game.
You're not wasting money.
Right. Because,
So talk about the wine club.
So the wine club, and that's another thing that differentiates us over all the other wine stores. We do have a wine club. We also have the largest wine club in the state of Nebraska, and there's a reason. It's for $42.95 a month plus tax. You can come in, you're going to get 2 bottles of wine. This one right here was actually a wine club wine at one time last year, 20 rows, small production. You're not going to find actually any of these in grocery stores. Those are the things that we're going to put into wine club. The biggest thing is people think they only like California heavy cabs or just a Chardonnay or just a Pinot Grigio. They don't really know what they like. By joining the wine club, you're going to be introduced to wines from all over the world. And whether it is Germany, we've done Armenia this last year, we've done Slovenia, France, Argentina. I mean, we're all over. And then you're able to try all different types of varietals. This month, we're doing a Nebbiolo Barbera and an Ascetta from Italy. A lot of people have never even heard of those.
No.
So it forces you, it forces you to get out of your comfort box and try wines and expand your palate. The other nice thing about our wine club is that we also have wine tastings every single Friday night from 5 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
Wine club members are free, but if you're not a wine club member, it's just $5 plus tax. Come in, expand your palate,
meet people,
taste some wines, meet some people, and have fun. And by the way, just so everybody knows, even if you are not a drinker, or if, let's say, you're pregnant or you're on medication, we carry non-alcoholic wine. And so we've got a vast selection of non-alcoholic wine that is good, as well as we have non-alcoholic beer. So we do have other options other than just something that has alcohol. Or maybe you want to go out, but you don't drink if you are the designated driver.
Right.
We have other options for you.
Well, speaking of options, and we talked about this just before we went on camera, so my husband does not drink wine. We know this about Chris. He's a beer drinker. And so it was nice to be able to say, okay, well, what do you normally drink?
Right.
And you've got beer options. But I've also been in to buy, I want to say, a bottle of bourbon for our son-in-law. So give everyone just a quick little ditty on other things aside from wine.
So we do carry a small selection of spirits. We have some bourbons, whiskey, and 1 or 2 scotches. And those are basically, when I'm choosing wine for the overall palate for everybody. When it comes to the bourbons and the whiskeys, it's really more onto my palate. So the people that are generally coming in to buy from me will say, Deanna, what do you recommend based on my husband, or based on this is what this person drinks? And I'm able to say, you can do this. I also like to get behind small production, whether it is bourbons, whether it's wine, local beers. So we do carry quite a few local beers because I am all about let's support local, support small.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, very good. So let's transition a little bit before we run out of time. I also know that you have some favorite charities that you support.
We do. We actually do a lot of charity events. We do a lot of fundraisers. This month, I have 4 fundraisers on the books. We just did one on Saturday for Snafu, which is a rescue group. So we do a lot of dog rescue groups. Last weekend, we did one for Hetra, which is, of course, a horse. Yes, we've done stuff for Scattered Joy. But we also support things like Autism Action Partnership. We just poured for them on September 30th for their gala. We've been involved with them for over 7 years. Nice. We pour for a lot of other events. We've poured for Hops and Grapes, Partnership for Kids. We help out with Pinot Pigs and Poets, or now it's Pours. I'm actually on the Vin Nebraska board. I'm the vice president of that. That is a lot of work. We work with local charities and partner with them last 3 years. And this year will be our last year. We will be partnering with the Stevens Center. And then I also do, so we help, we've done Ataxia, which we've been involved with them. So whether it's fundraisers, whether it's helping with their galas to pour, so helping with wine, helping with their wine pools, and charities are a big part of our business and giving back to the community.
Well, that's just it. It's community, and that's very consistent with you. And I know this. It's about supporting local, supporting small. Right. I love how and where you choose to have in store what you offer. The other thing we should mention before I touch on just a couple other things, it's you don't have to assume that to go into a wine bar that it's going to break the bank.
Oh gosh.
To buy a glass or a bottle.
Not at all.
I think there's just this assumption of, they have a wine club.
Yes. Oh, it's a wine bar.
It's
a boutique.
Yeah.
One of the things.
The range is huge.
It's huge. Yeah. So we actually, the way Vino Mas, where we are a little bit different than some of the other wine bars, some of the wine stores, because we cater to the everyday drinker.
Yeah.
The majority of our wines are under $25. And then we also have our 6 for $66, which is $11 a bottle. And those are all good bottles. Yeah. And then we also have a full table of wines you can choose from, 5 for $75. our 1995 table, and you can mix and match everything. So for $11, that's an everyday drinker, and it does not break the bank.
No, I've been there, done that. You have great selections in the bin, on the table, or elsewhere. So I love that. Let's transition a little bit. So I really have enjoyed watching you as a business owner. I think that your leadership is amazing. I've seen you with your people.
Thank you.
And so what would your definition of leadership be?
So for me, I would say leadership is not just the person. It's not just me. I cannot do what I do without my entire team. And so I think as a leader, I can be there to say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do, or this is what I'm thinking, but what do you think? So I bounce things off my entire team. My entire team, oh my gosh, it makes me really choked up to think about them because they're so amazing. And without them, I couldn't be the leader I am. I couldn't push the business where it's going without all of them.
Yeah. Isn't that so true? We can't do what we do as leaders without being surrounded by other amazing people who are in and of themselves leaders.
Right, absolutely.
You know, the other thing that I love about just watching you when you're in flow, I'll call it, is, you know what, you're right there with them. You're rolling up your sleeves, and, you know, you're working the room, and you're pouring what needs to be poured, and you're answering questions. And I think that says a lot for a leader as well.
Right. I always say, if I'm going to ask somebody to get down and scrub the floor, I will be down there scrubbing the floor with them.
Yeah.
And so I will never ask somebody to do something that I would not do myself.
Yeah.
And I haven't done myself.
Right. Yes, I have.
Oh, yeah.
It's your turn.
Yes.
So let's go back to, because this has been 10 years, right? And so go back to a younger Deanna. Like, what would your advice be to self? And I don't care if it's when you were 10, 20, or 30. I don't care.
Well, my advice to myself would be, take more time to yourself. Chill out a little bit, because what I have always done is I pour myself into things, and I tend to throw myself in, and I need to back off. And the one thing, especially for a business, Christopher Slater, actually from Centersphere, is the one that really gave me great advice early on. It was probably maybe we were in our second year, and this would be on anything I do. You need to work in your business. You need to work in the business, whether you own it or not. But you also need to work on whatever you're doing, whether it is you need to work on the business, which means networking is important, getting out, being with people, but also make sure that yourself is refreshed personally. Yeah. And I would definitely say, take more time to myself and not just work.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Not always great at that myself, actually.
Not either. And that's why I'm still working on it.
And that's okay. But awareness, right? And so let's go on to, I love to hear where and who others would like to spend time. So if you could choose one person, I don't care if they're famous, not famous, in your business, out of your business, one person, and it could be a cup of coffee, or it could be a half a day. Who would you want to spend time with?
Gosh, probably, well, of course, the cliche, it's what everybody says, Jesus and God, but you know what? I'll have plenty of time to spend time with them later. So I would say, I'm not going to pick a specific person. Just give me another entrepreneur, another female that's older, not younger, because I jumped into this business specifically older with no experience and just got it's male dominated, and younger.
Yeah.
To somebody else that has gone through basically what I have, and just pick their brain to see what could I have done differently, or what have I done well? What did you do? Yeah. So I don't really know who that person would be, but if I had a search, I would say that's who it would be. So just let me know. I'd love to have a cup of coffee with you. Wine.
Oh, even better.
Yes.
What was I thinking? Forget the coffee. Yes. Oh my gosh. I think so often that, especially when you're a business owner, especially when you're an entrepreneur, leader, woman, finding others to talk to, lean on, learn from, noodle. I call it noodling.
Oh.
I love just noodling on business. The what to, the how to, what are you thinking? I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I have some people that I follow that are kind of in my mortgage space to learn what's next so that we don't get stale.
Right.
Because, you can't sit still.
No. And it's easy to fall into just, oh, things are going okay, and this is easy now.
Yes.
So I'll just keep going, but that's not going to grow your business.
No.
And it's not going to grow yourself either.
No, it's not. Okay. Advice. Last couple things. What kind of advice? So you kind of said, okay, so you chose, wasn't your first career, a little later in life, as a female, start a business. What would your advice be to someone else who's maybe considering doing the same thing?
Make sure that you talk to a lot of people. And make sure that you realize, especially in this particular business, if you're going in, this is retail. So that's the other thing you have to realize.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hours, and you have to be willing to put the time in. Unfortunately, and I have spoken to people that have wanting to get in and wanting to kind of pick my brain, and some of them have started and they have not made it. Others are getting ready to get in. You have to be willing to put those 80, 85 hour work weeks in and be in the place doing it to grow it, because you can't just hire a staff to do something like this. This is, I always say with wine, it's a different animal. If you have a bar, and you can have bartenders and you can have managers, but with wine, you're selling wine, you have to learn the person. You actually have to know a little bit about wine. And it's not just wine that's from necessarily Napa or California.
Right.
You need to know about the entire world. And then not only about the entire world, you need to learn and know a little bit about how, for instance, we've got 2 Pinot Noirs here. One's from California and one is from France, from Burgundy. What's the difference on these? If somebody wants a Pinot Noir, you can't just give them this one, for instance. This is Burgundy. And then, so I just tell people when they've talked to me, I'm like, okay, you've got to get out and at least get some certifications. You don't have to have them. I didn't have them when I started, but I started studying immediately and started just getting into things. And that would be what I would say, be willing to put the time in.
Yes.
Then it will get easier, and it does.
Yeah.
But also make sure you have some knowledge.
And that goes with any business.
Absolutely.
Right? Not
absolutely.
just the wine business.
Absolutely.
And I should also give a shout out to my team, because I was surprised yesterday. I didn't know yesterday was National Bosses Day. I had no idea. And here they come. They had been to Vino Mas and they brought me 3 bottles. They know me well. Yeah.
And these are amazing bottles.
Yeah. So lucky me.
Yes.
Okay. So where can everyone find you? So if someone wants to go online and find you,
so just vinomas.com. We have our website. We do sell on the website. Generally, though, once we get that order, we're going to call you. We don't process credit cards on the website at all. So we'll process them because I don't want any type of fraud.
Yeah.
But we also sell through DoorDash, through Drizzly.
Oh.
We are signing up now for Uber Eats because they all do alcohol delivery. We also have our wine club, and we do a weekly e-news. And in that e-news, it'll tell you about all of our events that are going on. It tells you about the wine club. It'll have recipes for pairing. We have a full area on our website that has all different recipes. So if you like to cook, look them up. These are all ones that I've made or someone from the staff has made, and we've got them paired.
I love
and
that.
The recipes are there with pictures. So we try to make ourselves kind of out there. If you just Google, we'll be there.
Find Vino Mas.
Yeah, and we're right at 144th and Eagle Run Drive. For those of you that are in Northwest Omaha or around, we're just right down the street.
Right down the street.
Right down the street.
Okay, on that note, I will say thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for spending time with us, Deanna Albertson, Vino Mas, which is an amazing place to go visit. And I'm just so thankful that I know you. It's been several years, and I really appreciate you as a business owner and as a person, as a friend, as a networker, etc. Okay, guys, that's a wrap. I'm Lynette Arrasmith, High Trust Professionals Podcast. And you know what? You can find us a couple different places. Please go to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and don't forget TikTok. See you next time.